What's up, Falcon fans? On today's episode, we're going to talk about the Tennessee Titans versus the Atlanta Falcons. If you guys like this type of content, hit that like button. If you guys hate this type of content, hit that dislike button or hurt your boy's feelings. Well, maybe just a little bit. But also, if you want to do a huge favor for your boy, by hitting that subscribe button, it will help out the empire grow tremendously. So on that note, let's dive into the 7 categories that I have for today's video. So let's get started with category number 1. Home field advantage versus home field advantage. So the Atlanta Falcons will have to travel to Tennessee at Nissan Stadium. So I'm going to give my points to the Tennessee Titans. So now let's talk about category number 2. Coaches versus coaches, Arthur Smith versus Mike Vrabel. Let's start off with Mike Vrabel first. Mike has been the head coach for the Tennessee Titans in 2018 through 2023. He has a 50-win record and 38 loss as well, but he's been doing pretty good for them. Not recently though, but his offensive prowess of philosophy is ground and pound with Derrick Henry at the back helm, because that is his bell cow, and everything else they will just sprinkle it in this statement right here. So when it comes to the defensive side for the Tennessee Titans, he likes to play a 3-4. Now, we all know that in his earlier years when he played for the NFL, he played on the outside linebacker position role. And after, his playing days was over, and when he got a coaching job for the Houston Texans and back in 2014 through 2016, he was the linebacker coach. And then 2017, he got promoted for defensive coordinator job. And the rest is history. Now, besides that 2017, when the Tennessee Titans had Mike Mularkey, I think that's how you say my boy's name. He won, the wild card round against the Chiefs, but then they lost to the Patriots in the divisional playoffs. But before that, they haven't won a division or even been to the playoffs since 2008. So when Mike took over in 2018 through 2019 through 2021, they have been consistently going into the playoffs. So that's a great job. So now let's talk about Arthur Smith. I'll give credit where credit's due. Arthur Smith has done a really great job in building this defense into something that we haven't seen back in 2017 and back in the mid-2000s, where we're a top 10 defenses now. So when it comes to the offense side of the ball, most Falcon fans know that when it comes to the play action pass, we like to do a lot of 2 different types of concepts: short post and crossing routes. That really helps develop the quarterback and making sure he doesn't make stupid mistakes. And then of course the run game is the zone run. We are heavily based on that. So my points go to Arthur Smith and the Atlanta Falcons, but let me be very clear. I would give my points to Mike Vrabel, but since Ryan Tannehill, the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, is out, and they haven't had a quarterback of his caliber since 2018 when Marcus Mariota was at the helm, and it's going to be very difficult for Mike Vrabel to teach these 2 young quarterbacks they have at the helm to stop a top 10 defense like the Atlanta Falcons, and I don't think he has the time for that. So let's talk about category number 3. Titans quarterback and wide receivers versus the Falcons secondary. So let's start out with the Tennessee Titans. Unfortunately, I can't give you too much information about Will Levis and Malik Willis because both of them don't have a lot of experience in the NFL to really dissect them. Now, Malik played last season. He played in 7 games and looked absolutely terrible. And there's a lot of factors we can contribute, but at the end of the day, it's clearly evident that he needs a lot of work in the NFL, regardless if he didn't have experience or not. It's just how the business works. And then for the upcoming star in Will Levis, he has 0 playing time in the NFL, so I can't judge him on what he's going to do. I don't care what he did in college. That's in college. This is the NFL. So, but we can judge about the wide receiving core for the Tennessee Titans. Unfortunately, the wide receiving core for the Tennessee Titans does not fare any better. They only have D-Hops, who's just been absolutely non-himself, regardless of injuries or scheme-wise or whatever's going on in his situation. But he is leading the receiving and the reception at the wide receiving core. Now, Treylon Burks has been such a huge disappointment, coming out of Arkansas in the first round. Hasn't really done that much. Now, I know he's been banged up and overweight or something like that, but all the other, Chris Moore and then Jackson and then Nick Westbrook, and then everybody else just not really great, unfortunately. So it is very hard for them to score points and get a lot of separation if they don't find the right key matchups. But now let's talk about the Falcons. So far, the Atlanta Falcons secondary has not allowed a single wide receiver to go over 100 receiving yards. Now, they did allow 3 players, Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, and Terry McLellan, to get over 80 yards. But besides that, they have been shutting down not a lot of touchdowns in the wide receiving core. And so I'm very confident enough to say that I'm going to give my points to the Atlanta Falcons secondary because they find ways to shut down the wide receiving core. So now let's talk about category number 4. Titans running back, tight end, and O-line versus the Falcons front 7. Let's start out with the Titans. When it comes to the passing game for the Tennessee Titans offensive lineman play, they don't look like they seem to give Ryan Tannehill or the other quarterbacks enough time to really check down all their boxes and give them enough time to extend the play a lot of times. So that's why Ryan Tannehill and the other quarterbacks usually get sacked 3 times or plus in every per game. So there's something to be kind of looking at. But when it comes to the running side of the ball, obviously that's a little bit different because they have King Henry over there who averaged 4.3 per carry and still looking pretty good, even though he's been a little nicked up in the offensive line play and the tight end play when it comes to blocking are not really spectacular. But they also got Tysh Spears as well, who is a rookie out of Tulane, and he's been doing pretty good when his number's been called so far. So he's been making some pretty noticeable plays. But even still, that Derrick Henry's kind of slipping this season. He's still a baller. He still has proven us that he can still ground and pound the rock against the LA Chargers, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Baltimore Ravens. Now, he has been shut down by the Colts, the Saints, and the Browns. But besides that, you don't know which type of Derrick Henry you're going to get, but never underestimate this man because he will make you pay for that. So now let's talk about the Falcons front 7. Well, the good thing about the Falcons front 7, we haven't allowed the running backs to really dictate where they want to go or even get them over 100 yards per game. So that's fantastic job there. We haven't allowed, a single rushing touchdown only in week 3 against the Detroit Lions when Jared Goff, the quarterback, just ran it in with a crazy play action. I can't quite remember. But that's the only time that we allowed anybody rush against us. So when it comes to the pressures, the pass rush and the quarterback hits, we do a pretty good job in maintaining the quarterback to making sure he doesn't throw over the top or go too much under. A lot of times we have great cover schemes to making sure that we confuse, and man-to-man coverage is so legit. Now, the zone coverage is definitely a problem in my personal eye because you need the pass rushers to fit the perfect zone coverage, but that's just me. But I feel like this is a great matchup. My points is actually going to Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans because the Atlanta Falcons, they have to prove that they can stop the best running back in the NFL. Because remember, back in 2015, when the Atlanta Falcons were ranked number 1 and stuffing the run, they got demolished by Adrian Peterson, who ran over them 29 times for a grand total of 158 total rushing yards and 2 touchdowns to boot, and he averaged 5.4 per carry. So this is a huge statement for them because last time they were ranked number 1. This year they're ranked number 10. So we just have to wait and see. But now let's talk about category number 5. Falcons quarterback and wide receiver versus the Titans secondary. Let's talk about the Falcons first. I don't want to sound like a broken record about Desmond Ridder. All I can say is, for now on, I want to see all 17 games that he plays, and then I'll give judgment upon thee. So now let's talk about the wide receiving core, because Drake London, he's a different type of animal. He's a beast. He's a dog. He gets snatched from anything if he's given the right opportunity, and he's very reliable target for Desmond Ridder. But when it comes to the other wide receiver core and Hollins, Hodge, Miller, and Jefferson, they don't get a lot of opportunities like Drake, but hopefully, and surely, Ridder can find more chemistry with them because they all average over 10 plus reception per yard. So now let's talk about the Tennessee Titans secondary. The secondary is very off and on. Sometimes they dominate and sometimes they get dominated. But in every game, they do allow over 100 yards for any of the wide receivers they are matching up. But they do have a lot of pass deflections. And out of the 9 forced fumbles, 4 of them came from the cornerback position, so they know how to punch the ball out. So we have to be careful about that. Ball security is definitely a go for our wide receiving core. I'm going to give my points to the Tennessee Titans just because they have more of an arsenal when it comes to the corners and safeties, even though I know they did trade Kevin Byers to the Philadelphia Eagles, but even still, the Atlanta Falcons only have one true number one wide receiver at their disposal, and everybody else is just average right now. So now let's talk about category number 6. Falcons running back, tight end, O-line versus the Tennessee front 7. So now let's talk about the Falcons. For some reason, our offensive line gives up a lot of penalties for some reason. Our pre-notion snaps are still kind of wonky. They're not perfect or executed right when we would like to. But so far, Desmond Ridder hasn't been hit too much against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Only 1 sack to the previously 3 to 5 sacks per game type of mentality. So that's something that is a plus. But when it comes to the rushing attack, Bijan, Algier, Ridder, and Patterson, they all average over 3 to 5 points per carry, and they find the right holes. They're getting first down conversions easily. I like how we just keep grounding and pounding when a lot of times that it doesn't feel like we should, but we still do it, and they do it successfully. So that's fantastic at that department. So when it comes to the tight end department core, Jonnu Smith is definitely one of the best safety blankets for the young Desmond Ridder to go to. Even though he's blanketed over or he's wide open freely, this is the safety net that Desmond Ridder really likes to go, and it shows because he has 16 first down conversions. Fantastic work. He has 2 big plays, over 20 plus yards, 1 touchdown, and Kyle Pitts, I think he's getting back to his old self after that injury, so it's going to take a little bit more time, but so far, I can't complain about the tight end connections because at the end of the day, the tight ends are your safety blankets, and it's great that Michael Pruitt is also getting some work as well. But now let's talk about the tight ends front 7. Watch out for Danico Audrey, the defensive end for the Tennessee Titans. He has 4 sacks already under his belt. Then, of course, you got Jefferson Simmons, defensive tackle, who's just been an all-pro, 2.5 sacks already. And then some of the other linebackers, and Landry has 2 sacks, and then Shear with 1 sack, and Adrian Key with 2.5 sacks. In total, they have 15 total sacks, but they're a special unit that likes to get after the quarterback, so we can't forget about that. But the thing is that they're pretty good in stopping the run. They only average 3.4 per carry to the opponent's running back. But even still, I'm going to give my points to the Atlanta Falcons because they have not just 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 quality players that can rush the ball pretty well. So now let's talk about category number 7. Special teams versus special teams. So when it comes to the Tennessee Titans kicking game, Nick Folk is just a beast. He has not missed a single field goal kick so far. He has made 16. His longest is 53. And the punting game to Ryan Stonehouse has been doing a pretty good job too. He has not given up too much crazy punts. But when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons side of the ball as well, Younghoe Koo only missed 1 field goal attempt, and that was at the 40-yard line. But even still, he has been winning us 3 critical games that really helped us, be successful in winning this first division right now. And then, Brantley Opinion, who's been punting pretty excellent as well, besides that one by Crowder. But besides that, I'm going to give my points to both teams because they both have done an excellent job on the special teams contributor. So now let's talk about our final prediction. For my final predictions, I actually have the Atlanta Falcons winning this 17-13. This is going to be a bloody run game, defensive game. It's not going to be exciting for a lot of fans that might thinking, we're going to go over the top. No, it's going to be a tough game to win, but I feel like the Atlanta Falcons can win because we have a lot of tools in the tool shed that we can definitely use at our disposal, unlike the Tennessee Titans right now. So, on that note, if you guys lasted this long to the very end of the video, thank you so much for taking your own personal time and day to watch these Falcon content videos. I love making videos for you guys. Here's more on the screen if you guys are interested. So, what do Falcons do? Rise up. Until the next episode, show love and peace of the world, and peace.